Program Director, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chief Director, and good afternoon to all the colleagues. And good afternoon, Mary, I hope and your team from PILO, the directors from head office, Dr. Kate is here, assistant directors are here, and everybody who is here, colleagues, a very good afternoon. I take it, Cindy, you were able to tender my apology.
Yes, I did.
And my voice can explain that Umuntu has been driving too much over the past 3 days. But I can't miss the opportunity of talking to you. But let me make 2 comments and also come in with solutions to our problems. And also I need to thank the organized labor with us. Satu is still here and Atrosa is still here. I learned, and I was following the proceedings here, I learned that Natu was here also yesterday. Thank you very much to organized labor. What is important when we deal with matters like this is to be with you in the same room so that as we go to schools in support of our teachers who are your members, at least we sing from the same hymn. When we designed this together with Cindy, part of the brief I need to refer to. I said, Cindy, this year we targeted ECT, and because we wanted to lay the foundation. Kumbu, you now know, we are fine with ECT, we are remaining with few issues. One issue is the payment of the centers, the other one is the practitioners' capacity building to practitioners. But I am now comfortable that we are fine with ECT. Then I said to Cindy, next year, Cindy, we must target GET. To the level that if I said to her, if you need to take me around the province 12 times 12, do that. I normally say, I say, that is why now was over 12 districts times 3 in 2023. And I'm going to do it the 4th time when I'm moving in marking centers. 32 of them I'm going to visit each one of them. So I'm then saying our next year we are going to focus on GET. But during the monitoring of the exams, this is what I picked up, colleagues. We still are not doing enough in support of grade 9, the pilot schools that are taking GEC. That was my observation. I went to schools when the GEC was being written, I was interacting with principals. Then when we focus on GET, we combine with the preparation for the pilot schools. And unfortunately for us, the number is going to be bigger in 2024. So we need to make sure that we assist our schools through our principals to make sure that they are better prepared. Then the other comment I want to make, don't mind the PowerPoint. I'm going to run to it very quickly. The other observation I made in interacting with school managers is the gap that we have in supporting our teachers around issues of assessment. If as a system Cindy, we must make sure that we work hard in 2024 to make sure that we prepare our teachers through the principal schools in terms of assessment practices and procedures, whatever that you can call assessment. Dr. Chetty, I noted your comment in terms of PLC. Usindi told me about the debate that was in here. I don't want to open the debate, but I'm only saying part of what we need to focus on, Zama, is the PLC so that we don't shy away from using the concept of PLC. I'm not sure your reasons. I'm going to allow you to have your reasons for now, but going to 2024, all of us, we shall be using one concept, which is going to be the PLC. Then I'm here. Here, colleagues, I am talking to what you already have spoken about yesterday in my absence. But my understanding is that we are here, we are kickstarting our planning. Our planning at head office level, together with the districts, is starting today, started yesterday. Because the belief one is having is that we wish to identify our goals clearly. And what is more important is that the goals that you are targeting as head office should be similar to the goals you are targeting as districts, so that you can decide clearly and concretely in the way to achieve those goals. What has been happening throughout some years is that we allow districts to plan on their own without guidance from head office. Then in the process, then you have a district having goals that do not speak to the goals as targeted by head office. This is how we are beginning 2024. I said to Cindy, when you start this workshop, 10 colleagues that we are beginning 2024, and we start by planning. And we want to make sure that all of us can understand our goals similarly, so that Uzama can confidently talk about PLCs because the understanding is similar. When you move from district A to district number Z, then the understanding should be similar. And what is important is by involving everyone. When I say we are going to involve everyone, you will see when this plan graduates. At a certain point, you will find the head of department talking about this plan. And you must take pride. It is the plan that originated here, and you were the designers of this plan. When the HOD eventually talks about this plan. When we are targeting the planning, Dr. Chetty will agree with me that we are here to generate rich ideas so that we can turn them into smart actions. Because the danger of learned people, I count myself inside there. When we encounter a problem, we are very quick to come with ideas, but they stay at that level. They are not turned into actions. And we are here to say the ideas that we generated over the 2 days, and it is upon us, assisted by colleagues, some of them who are not here, to turn them into smart actions. We want to be realistic so that we enter into a realistic conversation and talk about resources. We can't be seated here and talk as if there are subject advisors everywhere. We can't be seated here and talk about as if there are no vacancies in the system. As we plan, we must be realistic. Talk about the resources that are there, talk about the capacity, and I agree with you. Always when we talk about the content gap, we are pointing at the other end. And no one is saying there is a possibility that it starts with us. No one is saying the gap may start with us. We must be able to design interventions as a priority. The danger, colleagues, that we normally do as a system is that we begin at the intervention. We don't begin with ideas, turn that into actions, be realistic about capacity and resources before we talk about the intervention. Always we start at the intervention. Then we must then agree on the indicators and the target. All of us, colleagues. So that when we report, when the head of department comes with top management to visit your district, you don't have to scratch your head as to how you are going to be able to report. The lessons learned over the 2 days will then be speaking from the pilot and external programs in teaching mathematics, languages, and reading in primary schools. It is deliberate, colleagues, that we want to talk about everything, but basing it around the primary schools because of the observation that the damage, that is where the damage starts. Let me also say the same sentence, the upside down. Districts that are doing well is because they have worked very hard to correct this level. Districts that are doing well, they have worked very hard to make sure that languages, reading, mathematics at this level are done correctly. I can give you names. And I can also give you names of provinces that are doing well. But the secret of those districts and those provinces is that this is where they have started. But for us to be able to do that, starting from yesterday, we must avoid working in silos. We must try to make sure that we integrate our plans and involve every stakeholder. The tendency, Mary, which is happening within the system, oh, this is Mary's thing, this is PILO's thing, oh, this is VVOP's thing. Once we take that approach, we are not going to win. We must then allow inputs from all stakeholders. They are part of us. Inputs from organized labor must be embraced because they are part of us. They can speak with confidence and they can speak competently about matters that are affecting schools better than us at times because they are teachers, they are still school-based teachers. Mina nosoto decided in the class. Maskuluma class, we talk about it at high level. Oh, sorry. We must remain open and honest to our stakeholders. If they are not doing well, we must tell them. If they come to us with plans that are not going to fly, we must be able to say that. But we must have facts to argue that. Without facts, you can't. We must then make sure that our advisors discuss the documents and we go back to the PLCs. When I say, Dr. Chetty, we are going to take a discussion later about the PLCs. One of the writers and the authors of the PLCs, Mary, is Professor Brody from Wits University. I once, Oscar, took a discussion with Professor Brody at Amajuba at your mathematics center, and we differed in terms of the PLCs. My view was, like yours, that these are democratic, they are teacher initiated, they can't be monitored, but she disagreed with me. And I was persuaded. I was persuaded. If we want to win, we can't allow that to happen. And I am here talking about the author of the professional learning committees. When you talk about books in education that talks about this, you can't talk about it without quoting Professor Wood. So I'm saying, Dr. Chetty, I was persuaded, and I'm here to persuade the entire system. So we also need colleagues as driven by the branch curriculum to make sure that we take advocacy on the better bill, so that it can't be other people talking about the better bill without us. Yes. This should be driven by us, and we must then also assist our teachers to be specialists, although they are teaching at a foundation phase level. We must work very hard to make sure that they are specialists while they are here. We must, together with Mr. Manganya Cindy, work very hard to build capacity in terms of our in-service training programs. PLCs, I'm not going to say much. Alice must and GET must assist us with these kind of activities, book clubs, read aloud days, spelling bee competition. And we must also work hard to provide the reading material. What is important, colleagues, for us to win as a branch and as a system, we must always make sure that there is continuous teacher support and development at whatever level. At whatever level. But on Monday, I was attending a conference organized by USA and UK ZN. Some of you might have, because it was virtual. One thing underscored by both specialists from USA and UK ZN is that for any system to win, it must be a system very strong in supporting teachers and developing capacity in the teachers. The specific reference on that day, on Monday, it was mathematics. So I have really spoken about school assessment practices. We need to be very strong as a system around assessment and make sure that we develop our teachers in terms of their roles in terms of assessment. Seated here, Oscar, I can tell you, some of the assessment that is written in other schools is not moderated. Our teachers don't understand that there is moderation before learners write and moderations after learners have written and after marking has taken place. Then this is where we almost failed. This is where we are calling upon support from organized labor, the SMT capacity. When I'm talking to leaders of organized labor in your absence, I will explain to them what is it that they can do in supporting us here. Starting with who is given an opportunity to operate at this level. What is their role when they come in these processes? When we want to appoint the principal of the school, when we want to appoint a departmental head. Because when we talk about the capacity of the SMT, the subject committees and the PLCs will be there to support the SMT. This is a continuation of the assessment that I spoke about, which will begin with the content coverage. When PILO came, Mary, when you came, one of your buzzwords in terms of your program was curriculum coverage. And for us as teachers to achieve curriculum coverage, then you supported it with reciprocal accountability. If we may go back to those, normally when I speak to the SMTs, I normally say, even if you make that as your target in 1 year, just one thing, make sure that you wake up every day to monitor curriculum coverage. That is one. Two, you can only achieve that when there is reciprocal accountability. Yourself accounting and your teachers accounting. These are the possible contributing factors that came from the 2 days from yourself, colleagues, that these are the factors that are contributing to the underperformance in mathematics. We know this, they were coming from you. The transition that is experienced by our learners from one phase to another, from one grade to another, the poor quality of assessment by our teachers. When I'm talking assessment, I normally make an example of what I came across. Nkosinathi Ngcobo University, awangikhathi ngifika mina babenge baningi abantu abaphuma e-university. Nawe uyakhumbula. Kodwa wena awuzakwemva kwami. So maphela ngithi asilingani kanjani. So I was requested by the principal to manage assessment. It was during the time of assessment. One colleague gave a paper on general science. Uzama will remember general science. A question for 20 marks to grade 8. Draw and label a glass speaker. Yes. 20 marks. Yes. Listen to the memorandum. When you draw a glass speaker, you get 10. When you label that this is the base, you get 5. When you label that this is the mouth, you get another 5. You get 20. So I am saying, colleagues, as schools, as districts, is almost the training. Lack of foundational knowledge on the side of learners. Why lack of foundational knowledge? Because they are not taught properly at ECD Kumbu. They are not taught properly at grade R, grade 1. When they go to grade 12, with my interventions. But the elephant in the room is lack of foundational knowledge. That is why exactly Ngane Azima extra class. That is why Mazibuko, they don't attend extra classes, because they were not taught by myself. They were taught by other people. So normally, colleagues, when we talk this, let us not shy away from talking politics, if you like. Because if you like, you will say it is politics when I say my children did not undergo extra classes because they were not taught by myself. I took them to other people to teach them. Those people ensured that there is no gap on the foundational knowledge. That is why my children, they don't struggle at university. That is why 3 out of 4 of my children are already graduates. But let us ask another question. What has happened to the children that I taught? What has happened to the children of the same age category as mine that went through my hands? Politics for another day. No, this is not Highland Black. We are jumper. Yes. Non-utilization of policies. Colleagues are shying away even from DBE webhooks. Colleagues are shying away from policies that drive what we do as teachers. Lastly, the teacher turnover. You train a teacher, colleagues that are training like on robotics, coding and robotics, know this very well. Mashallah. The teacher I'm training last year is no longer here on coding and robotics. The high teacher training. Possible intervention, this is what came from you colleagues. Demo lessons, use of ICT, content mathematics workshops, going back to the homework. Part of what I did not do as you teach Mazibuko, those learners that went through my hands were not given homework. If they were given, it was not marked. If it was marked, there was no feedback. You commit 3 sins in one. You don't give a homework. If you do, you don't mark it. If you mark it, you don't give feedback. So manotandaza ebusuku namhlanje. Because those are the sins you committed. Marking of classwork and feedback. Collaborate with role players. Promote effective use of workbooks and scripted lessons. Capacitate our educators on mathematics and develop question papers. What practices do we want to see? We want to make sure that our teachers, they increase their level of efficiency. But if you want to go and talk to teachers about this, talk about time management first. They must arrive at school on time and leave school at the appropriate time. And the zeal to work independently. Improve level of learner performance. Then increase the intake on the NCV programs in line with the national qualifications programs. The other countries, other third world countries, colleagues, this is where they won everything. They made sure that all their children, they go through the NCV, which is equivalent to grade 12. Or if you go to other countries, the least qualified person has got a grade 12. If it is not a grade 12, it is a certificate known as NCV, which is an equivalent. That is what we need to push as patriotic South Africans. For us to support grade 8 and 9, must make sure that we are not only focusing on grade 12. When I was still Tembile at Otugela, Sispopi, the schools that are still doing well at that district, what they were doing in determining the duty load, they will give the teachers that are doing grade 12, give them grade 8 and grade 9. Same teachers. If the teacher is handling accounting at grade 12, is also handling accounting at grade 8 and grade 9, not EMS.
Yeah.
Then the teacher that is doing economics is going back to grade 8 and 9 to handle economics, not EMS. The one that is doing business studies will go back to grade 8 and 9 and do business studies, not EMS. If you want to understand how it is done, go to Mrs. Nkosinathi. I can't go to her territory and give you examples. We are not watching the Then shortage of human resources and physical resources. SMTs must monitor the implementation of the book retrieval policy. See colleagues here, when we talk about the retrieval policy. Even ourselves, when we visit schools, and we discover that books are not coming back, we say to the principal, no, this one is mine. Curriculum coverage to be monitored by the SMT, and making sure that you don't only monitor when you are angry. Non-specialization at GET, this is the example Sispopi I was giving colleagues about. That is how you meet the non-specialization. It's written nowhere in our policy, but this is how teachers are doing it in schools. Yes. This is how our own children are taught when they go to grade 8 and grade 9.
Yes.
Our own children, that is how they are taught. And your children, overcrowding in GET classes. This is a common feature because of the current fiscal challenges, but even before, we are having shortages in terms of classes. This was seen clearly during the writing of the GEC, because it coincided with the writing of the NSC. Yes. Then when you get to the school, there is NSC writing, there is GEC writing, then the shortage of the floor space was seen clearly. Even anyone who could not understand what shortage of classrooms meant, but during the 5 days when the GEC was written, then you could see it clearly. I went to your school, went to my phone, I speak this morning, class. UGC, classrooms out 10. UGC took 10 exam rooms. Then NSC watata 8. Colleagues, thank you very much. And thank you very much for coming here, and thank you very much for participating. The level of the debate, which I observed today, is quite professional, Mary. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much, Organized Labour, for being here. This is not ending here. We are going to take this to another level, and when you go back to your districts, please go and talk about this.